Yo, what's up? It's your boy Pedro here, coming to you live with our second edition of Confession Session. So in this session, we're going to talk about gifts, guilt, and frustration. I know it's Friday night, 9 p.m. Many of you are probably out doing something else. I know a lot of my friends are actually at a basketball game right now, so you may or may not catch this. You might catch it during halftime or something like that. But I'm banking on the fact that most of you will watch this during the replay. So the whole purpose of this confession session is because right now I understand that the holiday season is upon us. People are out shopping, trying to figure out what to give for their family and their loved ones. And the one thing that kind of bothers me is that I see so many people stressing about what to get, what it is they should buy, their kids or their spouse or whoever. And I was guilty of the same thing. So one of the things I've come to realize is the United States, we are what I call the great consumer. We are a consumer nation. So we've been trained to consume. It's every holiday, if you think about it, is attached to some sort of purchasing. I mean, you can look at mattresses. They have a sale for every holiday. Valentine's Day is about, chocolates and roses, diamonds, all of that stuff. Birthdays are obviously you get gifts for that. Thanksgiving is about shopping for food for Thanksgiving, as well as the immediate Black Friday sale. So Christmas is probably the most notorious when it comes to shopping. And I wanted to share some things with you guys, some things that I started doing differently actually many years ago, because I realized that being part of this consumer nation really wasn't the greatest benefit for me or for my family. As some of you may know, some of you might not know, my daughters are actually young ladies. One is 25 and one is 19, about to be 20. So once they got into their teens and they started, they stopped liking the things that I purchased. As a dad, I got to a point where they really didn't like anything that I picked. So I kind of stopped buying them clothes and purses because they didn't like anything I got. Then once it got to a point where they had pretty much all the electronics that they wanted, it was like, okay, I literally found myself stressing about what to buy them, because as being a part of this consumer nation, it's Christmas or you have to buy them something. And I'm like, okay, well, they have an iPod, iPad, laptop, they have the clothes they need, because I'm not a person who really believes in just excess. So I don't want to buy them clothes just for the sake of having clothes. So I'm like, okay, well, what can I get them, that would be meaningful and not just a waste of money? And what I started doing was I started getting them trips or experiences. And it's funny because now when people ask my daughters, like, hey, what did your dad get you? Or what is he going to get you? They'll pretty much say, he'll probably have a trip for us. Because that's what I do now. Like, they're at the age where they appreciate experiences. At first, it was kind of, different for them, because I told them, like, hey, I'm not getting you anything for Christmas, but we're going to take this trip. And they were kind of like, okay, excuse me. And I don't know if they quite believed me, but after doing that a couple of times, they kind of realized that, yeah, he's really not getting us anything but this trip. So I want to break down kind of how I got into that and how I initially started. So I started out smaller, then got to a place now where we take some pretty decent trips. We actually just got back from China and Thailand. We were gone for about 2 weeks. That was part of their Christmas gift in advance. So let me rewind. One of the things that I started doing is, first you have to know your budget. And talking to a lot of my family and friends, what I realized is many of them don't even have a budget for shopping. It's like they just go out and kind of shop willy-nilly. And what I would do is, for each person, I had a budget. Let's use $1,000. I don't want to spend more than $1,000 for the holidays. Well, I would break that down by family members. So the girls might get $200 or $300 each. So let's just say 3. That's $600. So now I have like $400 left for other people. So everybody else might get $50 for mom and dad, random $20 gifts for everybody else. Well, once they got older, and like I said, once they got all the electronics and clothes that they wanted or needed, then I started saying, well, if I spend $300 per child anyway, just on gifts, what kind of trip could I make for $600 total? Or maybe a little bit more if I include myself. So I throw $300 for myself, let's say $900. So the first time that I really recall doing that was, I think it was Christmas 2015. So we went to Chicago. Now, keep in mind, one of my daughters found out about one of the bonuses to it, but I was like, hey, let's go to Chicago and have a white Christmas, because, we live in the South and we don't really get snow. And if we do get snow, it doesn't stick, it doesn't last long. So I was like, hey, let's go to Chicago and hopefully we'll have a white Christmas. So there was an anticipation of, well, there might be snow. And we didn't know if it was going to snow. I mean, nobody controls the weather, but lo and behold, when we got there, I want to say it snowed like Christmas Eve. Like it literally snowed the day before Christmas. It was really cool. So we got our white Christmas. Well, here's the other thing I want to tell you about when you give trips. I often say, or I not even try to do, I typically do this, add a bonus to the trip. So we went to Chicago, which to have a white Christmas, that was the gift, right? Well, my oldest daughter had found out that one of the things we were going to do was go see The Lion King. A friend of mine, her daughter was actually young Nyla in The Lion King. And they were like rounding up their US tour. And I think Chicago was the second to last stop on the tour. So my oldest one knew that we were going. My youngest one was into theater and all this stuff, so I knew she would really like it. So I kind of pulled my oldest one in and said, hey, don't tell her about The Lion King. So Chicago, the white Christmas is the gift. And we were actually up there on Christmas Day. Started snowing, so we got the white Christmas. Everybody's happy. I think we went to the show either Christmas night or maybe the 26th, like the day after. Well, at any rate, the youngest one doesn't know where we're going. So I'm like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner, get dressed, blah, blah, blah. And so my oldest one knows, and so we get an Uber. This was our first time taking an Uber. This is, like I said, back, I think, in 2015. So none of us had really taken an Uber before. So we had that experience of taking an Uber together. So we got the black car Uber. So it was like a black Suburban. So, we're like all fancy, and the black Suburban picked us up from the hotel, took us to the theater where The Lion King was. We go there, and my daughter said, oh, The Lion King is playing. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, oh, that's pretty cool. She thinks we're just going to meet my friend, which we were. My friend was going to give us the tickets to get into The Lion King. My oldest one knows, but the youngest one still doesn't. So we got to walk past the theater. And my friend met us on the corner. So she gave us the tickets, and then I surprised my youngest one with the tickets to The Lion King. And she like just lost it. She was like, oh my God, we're going to see The Lion King. I can't believe we're going to see The Lion King. And like she was just all over the place with joy. And this is one of the things where you have to rethink gift giving. Instead of giving her an iPad or anything like that, I gave them that experience. Even though my oldest one knew we were going, one, we got the bonus of having a white Christmas, which was something none of us could predict. It was just a desire. So we got the snow. Then we all got to ride in the Uber together for the first time. So even that was a moment that we still remember and we still talk about to this day. The thing about giving like tangible gifts is they often have diminishing value. What I mean by that is a lot of them physically lose value over time. Secondly, many times they forget about the gifts. And I'm going to be honest, I purchased them things that I didn't remember getting them. And like I've seen my daughter, oh, that's a nice jacket. Where'd you get that? She's like, you bought this for me. And I'm like, I did, because tangible gifts come and go. Sometimes you forget. Some stuff sits in the closet, never gets worn. Some things get re-gifted. The one thing I can say that has never gone unappreciated or unremembered are trips. They remember every trip, and we still talk about them. When we were on our trip to Asia just last week, we talked about the Chicago trip because it's something that stuck with us. It was something that really mattered. And here's the thing, you don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You just have to be intentional about making it happen. So one tip I would also give you is expand an existing trip. So say, for instance, you go to visit your family, wherever. If your family is somewhere close, not even an hour or two, like maybe 3 or 4 hours away from somewhere cool, they're still open around Christmas. Add that as a bonus, but don't tell them. So I think this might have been 2013. We went to visit our family for Christmas in South Georgia. Well, I think we're like 3 hours, 2.5 hours away from Orlando. So Christmas is over, and we take off. Like, hey, we're going riding. I didn't tell them where we were going. I was like, well, we're leaving, headed home. And my oldest noticed that we were going south. She was like, shouldn't we be going north? I said, well, you can go south and jump on I-10, take it over to 75 and go north. So I'm thinking she's going to go to sleep and I'll be driving and everything will be well. Well, she stayed up. And after a while, if you've ever driven down to Orlando, once you get about 90 or 100 miles out, you start seeing Disney everywhere. Disney. And I was like, well, we're not going to Disney. And I wasn't lying because we weren't. But my oldest one was kind of like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, seriously, like, we're not going to Disney. So we're driving. We actually drive to Orlando, drive through Orlando. So now they actually see that we're not going to Disney. So there was this little bit of disappointment, like, we're not going to Disney. I'm like, I told you we weren't going. Like, we're going home, right? Well, we drove through Orlando, went to Tampa, and went to Busch Gardens. So they were completely floored because they had never really expressed a desire to go to Busch Gardens. If you've never been, I highly suggest you check it out. In my opinion, even in their opinion, Busch Gardens was way more fun than Disney. It's kind of like, if you haven't been, it's like a zoo and an amusement park all in one. But the one thing I love about Busch Gardens is there's like a kid area kind of at every park. Like, a lot of parks have like a kid area, and then the other parks, the other sections. Busch Garden has a kid section, excuse me, a kid section in every section. So it made it easy. And I'm saying that if you have little ones, it's easier for you to, like, hey, we're going to go ride the roller coaster. You take the little one on a, you can alternate. You take the little one, you guys ride the kiddie ride, or even if you can sit, because think about it, with their kiddie rides, there are a lot of seats, sitting and waiting for grandparents and strollers and all of that. So Busch Gardens was set up really great where there were ample places for us to sit and just kind of chill. So surprised them with that. And it was like the day after Christmas. I think it was like the 26th. No, that was like right after New Year's, but it was on our Christmas break. So the cool thing is that year, and I didn't know this, Busch Gardens was doing, I don't know if they still do it, they gave you like this annual ticket. So if you bought a ticket, you can come back, I think it was at least once, if not twice, within a 365-day calendar year. So just so happened, we went like January 1st. So we went New Year's Day, and we had a year to come back. Well, fast forward, I think Christmas 2014. We actually did a cruise. So again, this is kind of like where I say you have the trip, then you have a bonus. So they knew about the cruise. The cruise, I want to say it was like the 22nd through the 24th or something, 21st, whatever. We came back Christmas Eve. So took the cruise. That was cool. We went to Cozumel. So they think that's their Christmas gift. And it is. So we get back and we're in Tampa chilling in the hotel. And I was like, you know what? We'll wake up Christmas morning. And we like the Christmas stories. If anybody's seen that, one of the things in there was the mom burned the turkey, so they had to go out to eat, and they had Chinese food. So the girls were like, hey, let's go have Chinese food on Christmas because we know they're open. When they had Chinese food, I personally hated the food. It was not the greatest Chinese food. They loved it. They loved the fact that we were having Chinese food on Christmas. Well, top that off. So the next day, actually, no, it was that morning. We went to Busch Gardens because I still had that ticket that could be used for a calendar year. So I surprised them, like, hey, let's wake up. I'm going to go somewhere. We go to Busch Gardens. I'm thinking it's going to be crazy. Actually, it was pretty empty. So we went to Busch Gardens early, knocked that out. I want to say we were probably done by like 1 or 2. Then that's when we went and had the Chinese dinner. So after Busch Gardens, we went and we ate the Chinese food for our Chinese Christmas story, Christmas. So saying all that to say, the cruise was the known gift. The trip to Busch Gardens was the bonus to the gift. So it's like, even in giving a gift of travel, you can still make it exciting by having a bonus built in there that they don't know about, or a surprise. Like Chicago was the trip that they knew about. Lion King, my oldest one knew about it, but my youngest one didn't. And even the Uber ride, as simple as that was a bonus because it was something we all did together. It was a first that we all did together, and they absolutely loved it. And again, as I mentioned earlier about the diminishing value, those trips are things that we still talk about to this day. We don't talk about their iPads or computers or even outfits. We do talk about their jacket because their jacket comes in handy when we travel. When we went to Asia, because we went to Beijing, which is cold, she had that jacket. And she's like, Daddy, I got the jacket that you got me. I was like, oh, the jacket that I forgot that I bought you. So we still kind of talk about that a little bit. But the one thing I really want you guys to think about is rethink gift giving. Give a trip, give an experience. Don't beat your head trying to figure out what sort of gifts to give and things. And here's the thing, even if the first year the kids might not be receptive because they're conditioned to receive tangible gifts, I promise you, after you guys have fun and you do it once, they actually start to look forward to it. My kids look forward to the trip. They're still my kids. They're young adults, but they look forward to those trips now because they understand that this is what daddy does. I don't give gifts anymore. I hate gift cards. Gift cards benefit the stores. Because be honest with yourself. You can drop a comment and let me know how many of you have had a gift card that you've never used. I have gift cards that have never been used, and I have gift cards that I've lost that I wanted to use and I can't find them. I've purchased gift cards in the past that they're just not my thing because one, they're kind of empty, so I'll give you a gift card. It's kind of like, so you don't really know what I want. And the truth is, I'm getting you a gift card because I don't really know what you want. And oftentimes, like I said, they either get lost or just unused. But when you give travel, of course, you can't give travel to your coworkers or anything, but to your family, I promise you, they'll thank you for it. And REthink, like I said, when you go to visit family, research what is nearby. And I say nearby meaning depending on how you feel like driving 2, 3, or 4 hours, like a little road trip. Like, hey, we're going to grandma's, she might live in, say, New York, and you might drive over to Niagara Falls. Or you might have family somewhere in California. Say, hey, you know what? We're going to surprise them and take them to Las Vegas, to the Hoover Dam or something like that. Like if you're close to the Grand Canyon or, there's so many different places that you can go to. And here's the thing. Even somewhere like New Orleans, if you like food, if you're foodies or you like spicy food, go somewhere that has great cuisine and kind of do like a food tour. Like go ahead and research some restaurants and find places to eat, kind of like a journey. Like, oh, we're going to check out this place. This place has the best donuts or whatever in the town. This place has the best seafood or whatever your thing is. Like we went to, and this wasn't a holiday, but we went to New England. So we went and had the lobster rolls for the first time. None of us were fans, but we tried that together as a family for the first time, and none of us were fans. Like none of us, we could care less if we ever get another lobster roll ever again in life. Flip that over. We went to Philadelphia one time, went to Pat's and Gino's, hated the cheesesteaks at both. Went down by the Liberty Bell and got cheesesteaks from a street cart, and that was like our favorite cheesesteak ever. So again, it's like to this day, we still talk about those trips. And people always say, why do you travel so much? That's why. People don't forget trips. They forget outfits. They forget electronics. They don't have that much meaning. The electronics and the clothes lose value. Those trips do not. And what you'll be doing is teaching your family to take trips in the future. So what they'll start doing once they start having kids is they'll start taking trips. I hear my daughters even telling their friends, like, hey, you should take a trip. Ask your mom and dad if you can take this trip. Now, some of you might be saying, well, yeah, I can't afford to take trips, whatever. Start small. Like I say, start with a family trip and then kind of go somewhere close by and then build your way up to, bigger, more extravagant trips. Now, as some of you may or may not know, I have a course which is called Cheap Flights on Demand, which actually teaches you how to find cheap flights. So like when we went to Chicago, we flew. I found some cheap flights. That's how we were able to do it. I also have some other hacks on how to find like cheap hotels. So the hotel where we stayed in got a good price on that. If you're not a fan, I would highly suggest if you haven't tried it yet, try Airbnbs. I know some people for some reason who are just like anti-Airbnb, like, oh, they might have cameras and blah, blah, blah. They found cameras at hotels. So the hidden camera thing, they actually have this thing called an RF sniffer or something. You can basically check to see there's any sort of recording mechanism in your room. You can find it on Amazon, depending on which model you get, from like $20 on up. Of course, they have something at $300. But my thing is you can get more bang for your buck with Airbnbs. And I'm speaking more to families right now, because if you're a single person, sometimes hotels are cool. When you start having 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and then you have to buy 2 or 3 hotel rooms. Because here's the thing, and I actually heard this in a timeshare presentation. And when the guy said it, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, so you guys consider a vacation taking your family from a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot home and cramming them in a 200 square foot place for 5 or 6 days. And I was like, dang. Like, that's exactly what we do. You go from this big house where everybody has space, go on vacation, and everybody gets cramped into this room with 2 double beds. People are like doubled up in the bed, sleeping on the floor. And I was like, a light bulb went off. And I was like, you know what? He's right. I didn't buy the timeshare because that still doesn't make financial sense. But look at Airbnbs if you haven't done that already. Any sort of vacation rental. Because oftentimes what you'll find is you get more space for less money. I'll give you a great example. We just got back from Phuket, Thailand, and I rented a 3-bedroom townhouse, and it was like $105 a night. 3-bedroom, had a carport or whatever. It was in a resort, so we had all the amenities of the hotels because it was part of this resort property. And again, it was like 110 for 3 bedrooms. Had I purchased like 2 rooms, I think it would have been like 160 something a night. So I saved money, but had more space. We had a refrigerator so we can, buy more food and store food. So we saved money on groceries as well. So if you're not a fan of Airbnbs, think about, I'm gonna do a separate training about Airbnbs because there's so many ways a family, even a single person, but families definitely can save money by traveling with Airbnbs. If you've never done Airbnb before, you want to know more about it, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM or something, and I'll kind of help get you connected on that, because trust me, you can save a ton of money using Airbnbs. I took the girls out to, some of you, my friends, might remember when I went to Asia in 2016. Again, this was a Christmas gift. I totally forgot about this. So I went to Asia 2016, flew my girls out to Los Angeles. So I was in Asia for like 10 or 14 days, flew to Los Angeles. They flew to Los Angeles. We met there, hung out there for a few days, and then I surprised them with a Christmas gift with a trip to Tokyo. I actually have a video on that. If you haven't checked it out, you can check it out on the website. Actually, there's a video, once this is done, if you go to the Hood and Culture homepage, over on the side, there's a link that says videos. Click on that and you'll see the video where I surprised the girls with the trip to Tokyo. So again, that was probably one of the best surprises that I ever done, because they had no clue. They knew we were going somewhere. My sister thought I was taking them to Phoenix. My daughters weren't quite sure where we were going because we landed where we got off the shuttle in front of Air Canada, because that's the airline that we flew. And they were like, we're going to Canada? I was like, no. Well, I wasn't lying. We weren't. And so I handed them these pieces of paper showing them where we were going. They said Tokyo. Their minds were blown. And that trip there was one of probably the most magical, in the sense of how they were surprised. Like, it was literally Christmas Eve morning here. When we flew there, we got there on Christmas Day, because they're a day ahead, 12 hours ahead of us. Saying all that to say, when we were in LA, we rented an Airbnb. So this was their first time in an Airbnb, not mine, but they thoroughly enjoyed the fact that they each had a bedroom. I got this house, I want to say, for like I think it was $109 a night, but like the cheapest 3-star hotel in LA was like $149. It was like a janky 3-star hotel. It wasn't even like nice. And it was like hotel rooms were just expensive. And again, all of us would have been crammed in like a 200 square foot space. Here it is. I got this Airbnb. It was 3 bedrooms, I think 2 or 1.5 baths. So basically we didn't have access to the master bedroom. That was locked. So we had the 3 bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom upstairs, and a half bath downstairs, powder room. So they loved the Airbnb. Was just as much of a gift to them as the trip, and then the bonus, the surprise, which was the real trip to Tokyo. So there are a lot of ways you can build an excitement, as you're preparing for holidays and gift giving and all of that stuff. So you just have to rethink gift giving, holidays, and focus more on experiences. I promise you. There was a study showing that millennials spend more money and time on experiences, because I promise you, it's the one thing that you'll remember. Gifts, gadgets, all these things, they come and go. Trips, they will remember forever. So with that being said, I'm about to wrap up the confession session. If you want to figure out how to find cheap flights, you can go to the link, go to the website, www.hood, the letter N, culture, cultured.com. You can click on the link where it says travel courses. Right now, it's only $9. And I kept it inexpensive because I really wanted more people to travel. But come January 1st is what I'm calling Too Late Tuesday. January 1st is a Tuesday. Come January 1st, the price is going up. So right now it's only $9. Many of you spend $9 on lunch. You'll spend $9 eating something or drinking something or doing whatever. It has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So check it out. If you don't like it, say, hey, I want my money back. But I'm not even worried about that, because everybody who's taken the course, who's actually gone through the steps, has saved a ton of money. A friend of mine took a trip back in the spring, and she saved over $1,200 on tickets because she used some of the strategies that I taught in Cheap Flights on Demand. There's certain way, if you're using Travelocity, Orbitz, Priceline, any of those, you're losing money. I promise you. And those are the big names, the ones people are most familiar with. And I say this, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're getting what everybody else gets. If you want great deals, you have to do things differently than other people. People who, who travel a lot, travel bloggers, they rarely use Expedia, Priceline, Orbitz, any of those. They search for flights in a totally different way. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. We were talking about going to Aruba and even Thailand. So I'm going back to Thailand in April for their Thai New Year. She's going to be there wrapping up her trip when I'm coming. So we're going to meet up out there. But it's all because we know how to find these cheap flights. Average flight from Atlanta to Thailand is about $1,100-1,200. I can get tickets for like 6 or 7. 8 is pushing it. Like I'm more in the 700 range. So I mean, you look at that, that's like a $400 savings. So if you have a family or if you're a couple, you double or triple that, you start saving enough money for a whole new ticket. So try it out. Again, it's only $9. Price is going up January 1st, which is Too Late Tuesday. Don't let that happen to you. The course really is more about you than it is me. It's $9 because there are fees involved. I have a website, have hosting, all these. There are cost expenses on my end. It's not like I'm trying to get rich off this. I'm trying to get more people to travel, have more fun, because the one thing people always ask me is, how do you do it? This is how you do it. You will literally watch me searching for flights. You're like looking over my shoulder, looking at the screen, and I'm showing you what I'm doing, but more importantly, I'm telling you why I'm doing it. The one thing I've learned back in 2012, I hung around some rich people. And the one thing I learned from rich people, and if you've ever been around any, you'll pick up on this really quick. They all focus on mindset. It's never about what you do. It's why you do it, right? A person gets in a car, and if they're a speed racer, they're in the car to win. So they're doing laps. They're driving fast for a purpose. If you just like to speed, you're just driving fast, hoping they never get caught, right? So it's all about mindset. Why are you doing it? What is the goal? So when I wanted to travel for experiences for myself, but then there was a point when I said I wanted to show my daughters the world. And I meant that. And there was a time when I thought I had to work for the airlines or be in the military, which at this point for me was too late. And I'm like, there has to be another way. And I started researching this. And I was talking to a friend the other night. I literally spent a lot of time and money researching travel. I study travel. I can tell you about airplanes, seat configurations, airport hubs, why it's cheaper to fly in and out of certain airports other than others, I literally study travel. So what you get in this course is kind of like the cliff notes of that. You don't have to spend the hundreds. I've spent hundreds of hours over the years studying travel. And I basically give you the most important things that you need to focus on. So again, you can check it out. Matter of fact, I'll put a link once this is over where you can, if you catch the replay, you can click on that and it'll take you to the site. But go to the website, Hood and Cultured, Hood, the letter N, Cultured with an ED on the end.com. Click on travel or click on the image that says cheap flights and you can find out all about that. Don't let Too Late Tuesday catch you. Until the next time, I will holler at you guys later. If there's something you want to know more about, I think I'm going to do a confession session for the next 4 weeks leading up to the Too Late Tuesday. So if there's something you want to know more about, let me know and I'll create a video about that. And on that note, I'm about to get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thank you for hanging out. I will see you in the next video. I'm out.